Damn, my hair is flat as hell. Okay. Yeah, that's me. All right, let's get this a little centered. That's better. All right. What is up, guys? I'm coming back at y'all just a day later, even though I said I was planning to make my goal to update you guys weekly on Mondays. However, I still want to update y'all when I have the time, potentially up to daily if it does fit my schedule. Now, I don't think by any means am I gonna make the goal a daily video. I think the goal will still just be minimum once a week on Monday or once a week in general. But I think the more that I get these out, at least what I've seen in my life, is the more I can make change or see growth. Because basically what I do is I watch these videos back after I record them, and then also right before I make the next one, and ideally a couple of the ones before as well, to reframe my mind into this realm that's been these videos. It's great because the main topic, the main focus, the main goal is my individual success. So it gives me the ability to and I think I've kind of like mentioned this before, create a singular timeline of content following my life. So that's, I think, like, bottom line, the more I do it, the better, at least for now. But I did get the thought of eventually, right, I won't have the time on my hands, or I will have enough leveraged responsibilities to where this probably either won't be as ideal of a time, as a use of time, or simply we find a better way to kind of keep ourselves updated and informed, and just on track. Well, but with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. After watching this most recent video, I really liked how I overviewed everything, and I would even say this second episode is gonna similarly look like the second episode of like Road to Success season 1, whereas the last 24 hours I've spent a lot of time and thought in systems and processes, and I said, wow, like, this is what I was able to achieve with these systems. Why don't I just refine them, build more systems, and then automate them? And that kind of seems like a good goal, to say the least, because what I've noticed, at least in like personal development and personal growth, not necessarily business growth, is I have these ways to keep myself accountable, processes that lead to results, and the more I kind of track and consistently go back to them, the more success I have. And it only makes sense if I'm going to be building that I'm going to need more accountability, more systems, more processes, take the thinking away. For example, I'm wearing the same shit I wore yesterday to an extent, I'm wearing black basketball shorts, but they're not the same basketball or workout shorts that I wore yesterday. I'm wearing the same quarter zip as yesterday. I'm not wearing the same undershirt. I'm not wearing an undershirt right now. But the point being is one of the reasons I think unconsciously do that, or maybe used to consciously do that, is because I don't have to think about what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing a base black workout / business casual outfit that, fits my persona, fits my personality, fits the dress code for the tasks I need to do. And that's just one way of something I've automated so that I can allot more time into like more important things. And I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but it's an example, right, of creating a processes that are within a system in order to produce results. So just a very, very small example, but that's basically what the conclusion I've came to is that's how I'm gonna reach my goals. The same way I said in the first series, with the goals, again, we'll go ahead and re-identify them is, 100K in gross revenue by July 1st, a 5-man team, which we'll discuss why that number is relevant, and then multiple revenue streams. So it's actually interesting because those are my business goals, and I'm saying more revenue streams. Like my original business goal wasn't multiple revenue streams, and it seemed like the solution was to have one. However, I don't think this revenue stream of firewood is going to last in April, May, June. So instead of having multiple, having a almost complementary revenue, so they complement each other. For example, like the big thought is pool cleaning, right? What do you not need in the cold, or not I can care less about in the cold, that you care about heavily in the heat, and that's pool cleaning. We're in Texas, we're in Houston, so the demand will be high. We already have a little bit of skill there, and we already have a little bit of evidence of or proof of concepts earlier this year. So just wanted to reinforce that thought that I kind of had yesterday. That will probably be a big one. But really, these sub episodes in between the main updating episodes, I guess, which we'll make sure to organize so we can kind of see the difference. And you'll probably just see the biggest difference, most likely, or at least one of the main differences will be that the time is just going to be different because I don't have to catch you up on as much. The last episode I had to catch you up on about a month's worth of stuff, as well as a month to a year's worth of goals. I guess 6 months to be exact, whereas this one is just updating you from 24 hours ago in time, and then going into detail on a couple of those. So that's pretty much it. When we, I guess, for big picture, kind of catch you up to date, breaking down major themes and all that. When it comes to, kind of the minor updates, for example, getting the LLC established today, another big sub goal that I would say is getting the business here and getting me here, okay? And it's something that's not going to be easy at all, but that's one of the big reasons I've dove into getting the LLC, establishing it as a separate entity, as well as I want to create systems and processes that aren't in my head. And I think the best way to explain it would be getting the business on paper and out of here, because right now, I'm doing a lot of the processes, and it even came to my attention that it's just not as sellable as a business. And I don't mean sell it as business, selling a business to another person, just in general, being a business, convincing others it's a business. The idea, when you're selling an idea, you're selling that, in a sense, that kind of selling. Until we have more hard, physical, manuals and operating procedures in place to where I can interchange people, I think that's just gonna really boost the leverage of the business and give me more specific ownership than operator kind of working wise. Because ultimately, another big thing too is as much as I love all this home service stuff, it's just to fund bigger adventures down the road. So that's where I don't want, I'm 24 right now. I'll be turning 25 soon, and I think, by 28 I'll have bought and sold some small businesses. Then 28 to 35 I can really hit real estate and the core systems and start really interacting with the bigger fields. And to some of y'all, you're like, well, like that just sounds so stupid. I'm sure, like, to go from selling firewood to being having like some sort of political, economical influence, like on the far end of the thing. But to me, it's like, where else really would you start if you're trying to be, in a leadership role of your own company? So that's really a big thing. I think the biggest thing too is understanding and identifying that, like, the things that got me to 10K that 1 month, the one measly month I actually did it, right? We're still talking growth and revenue. And the things that got me to like successful months, obviously the weather's like a big impact with firewood. We gotta make sure like the temperature's correct for us to be able to be successful nonetheless. The same things, if I do all the same things I did in December, best case scenario I do a little bit better, worst case scenario I'll do a little bit worse, just like assuming, right? But if I really want to like pass another friction point, which I talked about in the last video of going like, hey, like, this is where I was in October, I got past it, and then it was kind of just like, this is a new normal. We want to find that new friction point, and I think that's a big identifier, because the only way I believe we would realistically hit 100K revenue, and this is why I think it's such a good goal, is because we technically, if we did our best week for 26 weeks straight, we would reach it. So that's kind of like another reaffirming, like, hey, that was a good goal set. You just do your best week for 26 weeks straight. Like, I mean, it's just scrapes the surface of like possible, but like not likely, I guess, which is what I'm kind of going for. And then I don't want to say this now, but I think it just needs to be addressed. Like, if the first month we're already behind and we're having to set new standards, maybe we'll readjust the goal. For example, the same way, we kind of readjusted the 10K month goal to being like a gross revenued single business or single income relating solution. And that is like, that's my whole thing is like, we don't know what it's going to actually look like. Neither does, like, do we truly need 5 employees to get to that level? Is that a greed thing? Or, I mean, is it just like, that's a number that makes sense? You make 100K in revenue, you have five people, take away me, 4 of them are, operating at like 20% of the revenue, and like, what, I get 20% off the top, and then it's like, okay, well, I mean, that would still make me, 20K for 6 months, which is still fucking like $2 or $3 grand a month, which, like, I'm not really in it for the money at this point. It's really just about the growth and the freedom and the opportunity and the cash flow. Those things are so much more valuable to me than the money I make, because I see people who make 5 to 10K a month off of like a W-2 income, and they just, I mean, it's like, okay, well, you just have to repetitively do that for the rest of your life. Whereas, like, I would say the best way to do it is build a machine or a product or, an entity that does it for you. But maybe I'm just a dreamer, right? Maybe. So, I mean, that's pretty much what we'll touch up on for now. Like, the big things to like kind of, lay out again are like processes and systems that, reach our goal, or processes and systems that produce those results we want. That's kind of going to be the key kind of theme of probably the week, if not the month. And then, as well as like keeping a strong foundation, because I don't know if it's just post break or what, or the employees just like, they have a natural tendency to backslide, but that's something I need to make sure that I'm at least coming in with that same A game that I did in, the beginning of November, most of December, and then I can, rehash that in January. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you made it all the way to the end, good shit. But also, like, watch all these on 2x speed. That's what I do because I just talk slow. Like, I'm a slow person. It takes me a while, but slow and better is better. Slow and better is a better case than fast and incorrect. But yeah, all right, that's enough for y'all. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Peace.